tension between trying to be the perfect mom and trying to be the perfect employee as well. And the pressure that society puts on us as well to, now that we have some of these advantages in terms of education and other things, to succeed in the workplace. I'm one who I think I really struggle with the idea of having it all at the same time. I think you can have different emphasis over time in your life. So there may be a point in time where you can more heavily concentrate in your career, and then there's a point in time when you need to spend more time with family or other things. And I think that's true of men as well, but men aren't as willing to ask for that. And in fact, I'm a unique situation at Ford, and I'm fortunate they were very supportive. When I returned from Shanghai, I needed to spend more time with my family. And so I actually took a 6-month leave of absence from Ford, because I couldn't truly do it all at the same time. And when I was in Shanghai, I hardly ever saw my family. I worked all the time because of time zones and travel and so forth. And then when I came back, I spent some time concentrating on my family.
Can I ask you something? Did you feel guilty when you took the time off? Be honest.
And I think that's important. Actually, no. I had become comfortable with it, but I had some very hard conversations along the way, gaining approval for that. It had never before been done with someone at my level, and but I was very fortunate that they were willing to consider it, and then I came back into what I would consider a core, important job. So it didn't sideline me forever. So yeah, I think it is tough to really have it all at once, but over time, I think you can look at it as a continuum and try to have it all.
Jen?
Ford let you do that. Let's just point out that
I said
you had an employer that let you take 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine, let's do the thought experiment. All of our employers let us do that. It would be a very different way of life.
Yeah.
I'm now going to just point out one thing. This whole having it all thing, I mean, most of us lead lopsided lives. And I think that we might have to just embrace the certain natural tendency to be lopsided. Margaret Sanger, she was like preaching birth control. She was leading a lopsided life. A lot of interesting people we know lead lopsided lives. And if you look at what people's natural dispositions are, it's about a third, a third, a third. About 1/3 of us are more home-oriented, about 1/3 of us are more professional-oriented, and about 1/3 of us want both, and that's a very hard thing to swing. So I think that in some ways you have to sort of say, well, not everybody actually has a natural desire to keep everything in perfect equipoise either. The problem is that the pressures are now that, you remember that old Anjali commercial, I can bring home the bacon, fry it up, and now it's like you have to bring home enormous amounts of bacon, and when you're done frying up at the end, you have to use the remains to make like artisanal candles out of that project. I mean, it's like, when did that become, when should that be our mandate ever? And so that's, I think, it's a question of intensity too.
Look, I get, you guys have children that are older than mine. I have a 10-month-old, and I get asked all the time. It's the #1 question I get asked. How do you balance everything? I travel a ton. When I'm not working, I'm a personal trainer. When I'm not there, how do you balance all of it? And it took me a long time to be able to answer that question because, you know, the truth is, I always felt like I was leaving something out. Like when I was at home, when should I be at work? When I was at work, should I be at home? When I'm training, should I not? I never knew. And what I came to was, as long as, and this goes to your point of maybe imbalance is okay, as long as you are present, as long as wherever you are there, your whole self is there, you bring your whole self to that moment, whether it's with your child. If I have to sing Itsy Bitsy Spider one more time, I swear to God, I know that song. But if it's at home and sitting in front of your child, or if it's at work on a project, or if it's with a client, wherever you are, as long as you give 100% of your whole self, it alleviates that guilt that you're not doing something else somewhere else. And maybe the time is different. Maybe you're only spending half your time, or whatever it is. Maybe that's more important than the actual amount of time that you're putting into each. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it does, but I also think going back to the point about Chantel having this time from forward, we need to have this as a societal construct. And that goes to men and women both. You know, in Sweden, women are not allowed to take their paternity leave unless the husbands take their paternity leave. It's a 3-month mandatory paternity leave. So that is putting into cultural motion sort of an expectation that men are going to be involved as fathers and that men are going to be involved in the family, which I think is really the core of your book.
Yeah, and from the moment, and here's something else, and this is a small thing, but it winds up being a big thing. So if men are involved from the beginning, think about that fight you have in the early years, which is, oh my God, the baby's crying, I'm too exhausted, please take him. And and the husband says, I'm trying to calm him down, but he only wants you. This happens a lot. What if men were home for the first 3 months? There would be this whole,
But we're so far from that.
so far.
What do men get now? What is paternity leave? It's like 2 weeks, maybe?
Well, I mean, there's a national policy of any kind. There's a Family Medical Leave Act, which is unpaid, if you are an employer that has 50 employees or more. That's it. I mean, so your office might have a 2 week, I think that's like my office.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks or something. But even that, what is 2 weeks?
What is 2 weeks? I mean,
2 weeks, I was basically still in bed.
I don't know exactly,
Right?
And even beyond maternity leave, after I took the leave of absence and I came back, people asked me, would you recommend it? I said, absolutely, every person should take 6 months off to recharge, to just come back to work with a totally different frame of mind. As I talk to my male colleagues about that, that's just a foreign concept to think that they could be able to do that. And they just couldn't think about it. And that's like, we don't accept it as a society.
So let's broaden